All right, so get this. Imagine, right, you're at the top of your game, Mr. Universe title, the whole 9 yards. Then, bam, you trade it all in for, wait for it, a pulpit. Talk about a plot twist. And that's exactly what we're diving into today, the wild ride that is the life of Ray McCauley, a South African pastor with a past that's anything but, well, predictable.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. A real head scratcher. Muscle and ministry, you know. Two worlds that don't usually collide.
You're telling me. But seriously, who is this guy?
Well, Ray McCauley, born in Johannesburg back in '49, seems like bodybuilding had its hooks in him from the get-go.
Okay, but we're not talking like your average gym rat, right?
Oh, absolutely not. We're talking serious dedication here. This is a man on a mission, competitive bodybuilding, even snagged the Mr. South Africa title. And get this, in '74, he takes his sculpted physique, shall we say, to the world stage, the Mr. Universe competition.
No way. How'd he do?
Third place. Can you believe that?
Third in the entire world. This guy's the real deal. Okay,
Yeah.
so we've got Mr. Universe over here. Then what?
Yeah.
He just decides to hang up his,
Posing trunks.
posing trunks and trades them for a pulpit.
It's not quite that simple, but yeah, pretty close. See, this was also around the time when mega churches were like exploding in popularity. It was a whole thing. And McCauley, with his then wife Lindy, they'd trained at the, get this, Rhema Bible Training Center in Oklahoma. Talk about foreshadowing, right?
Okay, I see where this is going. So they come back to South Africa, all fired up, ready to preach, but they didn't start big, did they?
Nope. Humble beginnings. Think a small gathering, handful of people in his parents' living room.
See, that's what I'm talking about. From Mr. Universe to, like, a living room preacher. It's kind of endearing in a way.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, you said mega church earlier.
Oh, yeah, we're getting there. So they start small, but their congregation, it just, like, multiplies. I mean, we're talking exponential growth here. Pretty soon, the living room's not cutting it anymore.
Had to upgrade, huh?
Big time. They ended up holding services in a former cinema. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
One week it's showing movies. The next it's like sermons and hymns.
That's wild. What a visual. Okay, but it gets even bigger, right? Because we're talking mega church level here.
Oh yeah, buckle up. Even the cinema couldn't contain them for long. Eventually they moved to their current location, massive auditorium, 45,000 people capacity. To put that in perspective, that's like filling a medium-sized sports stadium every single Sunday.
45,000 people. You'd need a microphone the size of a car to be heard in there.
Yeah.
Man, those folks crammed into his parents' living room back in the day. They had no idea what they were in for. I mean, that kind of growth got to come with some growing pains, right? Especially when you're talking about something as, well, as big as religion. And I'm guessing McCauley's journey, it wasn't all smooth sailing.
You're right on the money there. Big personalities, big stages. It seems like controversies never too far behind. McCauley, yeah, he definitely had his share.
Okay, so spill the tea. What kind of controversies are we talking about?
Well, one of the biggest ones that always seems to pop up is this whole prosperity gospel thing.
Right. I've heard that term thrown around before, but to be honest, I'm not always sure I fully get it. Like, what does it actually mean?
Yeah, it can be kind of confusing. Basically, it's this idea that if you're living right and have God's favor, you'll see it reflected in, your finances, your material wealth. It's like God wants you to be rich, basically.
Okay. So where does McCauley fit into all of this?
Well, he's been accused of subscribing to and promoting this prosperity gospel. People point to, for example, his lifestyle, the way he lives. And they say it seems a little too extravagant for someone who preaches about humility and serving others.
Interesting. So how does he respond to those accusations?
He's defended himself, saying that essentially he's running a large organization and a mega church at that. And so his compensation, his lifestyle, it's in line with that level of leadership.
Okay, so he's saying it's like being the CEO of a big company.
Sure.
Interesting. But the controversies, they don't stop there, do they? I mean, his personal life, that got dragged into the spotlight too, right?
Yeah, sadly, that's often the case when you're in the public eye. And with McCauley, yeah, his divorce from Lindy back in 2000 and then his remarriage to Zelda Ireland, it definitely caused quite a stir.
It must be tough, having your personal life scrutinized like that, especially when you're in a position of religious leadership. People probably look up to you, put you on a pedestal, and then bam, something like this happens. And it can be really jarring.
Absolutely. And it can really test the whole, separation of church and state, or in this case, separation of personal life and public persona. Like, how much do those two things really intersect, especially for someone like McCauley? It's a tricky issue for sure.
It really is. And speaking of tricky issues, we can't forget about the whole political side of things. McCauley, He got himself tangled up in some of that too, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, definitely. His decision to have Jacob Zuma speak at his church back in '09, right before Zuma became president, I mean, that definitely raised some eyebrows.
What was the reaction like? People must have had some strong opinions about that.
Oh, for sure. Some people were furious. They saw it as McCauley endorsing Zuma, who was, and let's be honest, still is, a super divisive figure in South African politics. They felt like McCauley was using his platform to influence people's political views, which, rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
I bet. Did Macaulay ever address those criticisms?
Yeah, he said he wasn't making a political statement, just, providing a platform for dialogue, and that he has relationships with the people from, across the political spectrum. He even helped create this interfaith organization, the National Interfaith Leadership Council,
Right.
or NILC, which aimed to bring people of different faiths together.
So kind of like a bridge building thing.
Yeah, exactly. It eventually morphed into the National Interfaith Council of South Africa, which is still around today. They've done some really important work on social justice issues and promoting interfaith harmony.
Wow. Okay, so we've got a megachurch leader, interfaith activist, political firestorm, and I'm guessing that's not even everything. This guy sounds like he never slows down.
You're right about that. There's more. Because on top of all that, McCauley, he's a published author too.
Get out. Seriously.
Oh, yeah, for real. He's written a whole bunch of books on, faith, personal growth, that kind of thing.
Any titles that, jump out at you?
One that always stuck with me is Live Long, Die Young.
Whoa, okay, hold on. It's like a total head trip right there. It's deep, man. Makes you think.
Totally. It's like he's flipping the script on the whole, long life equals success thing. He's saying, hey, it's not about how many years you get. It's about how you actually live them.
Deep stuff. Okay, so books, check. But wasn't there also, a whole TV show thing happening at some point?
Oh, yeah, totally forgot about that. A New Day with Pastor Ray.
That's the one. I remember seeing commercials for it, but I never actually caught an episode. What was the deal with that? Was it your typical televangelist kind of thing?
Nah, it was actually a bit more than that. I mean, yeah, he talked about religion and stuff, but he also got into, social issues, current events, things that were affecting people's everyday lives.
So using television as a way to reach a wider audience, make a bigger impact.
Exactly. He wasn't content with just preaching to the choir, so to speak. He wanted to get his message out there to everyone, spark some conversations, maybe even stir the pot a little.
Man, what a story. We started with bodybuilding, then boom, megachurch pastor, then dipping his toes into politics, writing books, hosting a TV show. Talk about a wild ride. This Ray McCauley, he's definitely one of a kind.
For sure. And it makes you think, how do we even begin to sum up a life like that? All the different sides of him, the good, the bad, the controversial. It's a lot to unpack. And honestly, I think it's up to each of us to decide what we make of it all.
That's the truth. It really makes you ponder how much weight should we give to the personal lives of public figures, especially when those figures are also spiritual leaders. Do we separate the person from the message, or are they forever intertwined?
Big questions, no easy answers.
Not at all. But hey, that's what makes these deep dives so interesting, right?
Absolutely. Gets the wheels turning.
Exactly. Well, on that note, folks, that's a wrap on our exploration into the extraordinary and, let's face it, often baffling life of Ray McCauley.
Until next time.
Keep those thinking caps on, everybody.